Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Liam's Hockey, brought to you by Hosie and Brown Automotive, the region of Auto Carlton's #1 automotive part supplier, and my dear friend Rod Brown, and also brought to you by Ad Seal Services and my dear friend Mark Cullen. And Ad Seal Services are the #1 waterproofing company commercially in Eastern Canada, baby. They are the best. So thank you, Mark, for jumping on board as well. Shoeless Joe's is our newest sponsor, and I'll be giving them a shout out at the end of the show, right before we do This Day in Hockey. Got a couple beauties for you, and my shot today that I'll be doing a little later as well will be a happy birthday to a couple of guys. One who's become a friend, who's fighting some health issues, and another one who just continues to roll along majestically. So we'll have that for you at the end of the show, brought to you by Shoeless Joe's. Had to jump on here and fire this puppy up. Here we are at the end of the weekend, and still trending on Twitter, and one of the top topics is the Zegras-Terry Beagle scenario from a few nights ago in the game between Anaheim and Arizona. Well, I tell you, it's hard to continue with a straight face, folks, when I see all the angst that's come out of this. Now, there's a couple things that I tackle about this. Okay, everybody, I think, knows the story. If you're watching this, you undoubtedly do, because you're probably a pretty hardcore hockey fan if you're watching my little missives here. So, to reset it, Anaheim was playing Arizona, winning 5-0. I believe it was $1:45. I think it was 1:45 to go in the game. Trevor Zegras had already scored another Michigan goal earlier in the game. Zero problems. He wasn't confronted. He wasn't attacked. There was no follow-up after the play or the rest of the game. The game just continued with Anaheim having a fairly easy win of it. It wasn't really a problem at all. Then, with less than 2 minutes to go in a 5-0 game and a goal-mouth scramble, and the Arizona goaltender, whose last name I can't really pronounce. I know it's probably something simple, but it's like Vejkelma or something like that. I may have a couple of consonants spelled incorrectly in there. You know who I mean. Anyways, he's in the crease, and Zegras is in there poking away. Now, he said post-game, when he went on his little tirade crying, that the puck was loose. So, if you're in there, in the crease, on top of the other team's goalie, whether it's the first minute or the last minute of play, you're going to get hit. You do it in a 5-0 game with $1:45 to go, and I didn't see a loose puck. Now, I wasn't standing right there like he was, so let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Let's say for a split second the puck was loose, and he pokes his stick in there. So, noted pugilist Jay Beagle comes in and gives him a shot from behind and knocks him down. Look, he didn't go all Claude Lemieux on Chris Draper. No, it wasn't that type of shot. He just gave him a shot from behind and knocked him down. Was it a cross-check? Absolutely, but he didn't try and break his back. He just knocked him down. Troy Terry did the right thing and came in to back up his teammate. And as a result, he jumps on Beagle, and Beagle turns around and says, "What the?" And then he starts feeding him. He drops the gloves. Now, this was Jay Beagle's first fight in 9 years. 9 years. How come nobody has said that? Noted pugilist Jay Beagle. Everybody that plays against Arizona is out there skating on eggshells because Jay Beagle's in the lineup. He's had 4 fights in his NHL career. 4. 250 career penalty minutes. He's been playing for 100 years. He's 36. It's his first fight in 9 years. So he turns around and he starts feeding Terry. And he gave him a couple extra shots. Probably not knowing what Terry was going to do. Pissed off, obviously, at the situation that these guys are in there digging for pucks at 5-0 with $1:45. He's frustrated. Gave him a few shots. And then came the tsunami. The woke tsunami. Oh my God. There's the violins, the humanity, the crying. It's epic, and I had to address it because it's still trending on Twitter. And poor Kevin Bieksa has really taken it after his exchange with Jen Botterill, who I think is doing a pretty good job. I mean, women have infiltrated the hockey broadcasts pretty significantly this season, and undoubtedly will continue to do so. And I got no problem with that. And she is certainly qualified in terms of her background as a player. I disagree strongly with her point, and I think Kevin did as well, and he could have gone a little more forceful, and he backed off after the final comment. But he said his bit, and she responded very forcefully, and good on her. But she was totally wrong. And here's the thing. If you go in there and poke the goalie in any league in the world, you're going to get hit. Even in non-contact hockey, you're going to get hit. If you do it at the highest league in the world, you're definitely going to get hit. If you do it in a 5-0 game with a $1.45 to go, you're definitely going to get hit. Excuse me. Even by the teams that, look, fighting's never been at a lower point ever in NHL history the last couple of seasons. The enforcers are all but gone. The days, the era when I grew up, the hockey that I watched growing up, those days are gone. They're gone. If Zegras does this in the 1970s, he's carried off on a stretcher. Those days are gone. He took a shot from noted pugilist. Troy Terry took a couple shots from Jay Beagle. I mean, I'm reading the comments on Twitter. I'm just reading these people that are crying about this. They want the book thrown at Beagle. They want the book thrown at him. Here's what people need to understand. And I say this for not so much, as much the fans, although as every day, week, month, and year goes by, we get another percentage of fan that comes into as a newbie and then develops and stays, hopefully because they like what they see, that don't understand the fistic nature of the game. I had to see two guys drop like McEwen and Wayne Simmons on Saturday night, the very next day. And I don't know if they're all running and hiding under their bed when they see a fight like that or what. I don't know. I don't know. But if you read the comments on Twitter, and what seemed to alarm a lot of people is that Beagle fired those extra couple of shots. And he got, whether the visor cut Troy Terry or certainly some of the punches probably did, but I think the visor did some damage as well. Regardless, he threw some shots. Terry he didn't know what the hell was going on. It's NCAA guy. These guys are coming from NCAA. There's virtually no fighting there, unlike Major Junior in Canada, where there's a little bit more, certainly a lot more in Major Junior compared to NCAA, but it's not like it was years ago either. By the way, Jay Beagle came from NCAA. Noted pugilist, Jay Beagle did not play Major Junior hockey either. He's a Calgary native. He played 2 years, I think, University of Alaska. He's almost closer to 40 than he is to 30. Noted pugilist, Jay Beagle. Gave Troy Terry a couple of shots and everybody's crying. They want the book thrown at him, the crybabies, the woke dude. God willing, it doesn't happen. I think probably, not in my lifetime, hopefully, but probably in the lifetime of my children, we'll see some significant rule changes in the NHL. I think you will eventually see, definitely probably, a game suspension accompanying a fight, sadly. I think you will eventually even see the game governed like the women's. They'll take body checking out. It'll be body contact, which the women have, but you can't check. We'll have that in 25 years or less. I'll be watching another game upstairs whenever I make it there, because I'd be puking to see that in the men's. And that's kind of what I felt like, and then I just had to laugh because the comments, and they're still coming, and it's just hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious. I'll finish on this note. First of all, Beagle doesn't deserve a damn extra. He got 2, 5, and 10. It was called correctly on the ice. What did Terry get? I think he got a minor. It was called perfectly on the ice. And Zegras, he's crying after the game. I don't blame him one bit. It was his teammate. He's upset. He's upset, right? He sees an old, washed-up journeyman now at this point. Beagle's on his last legs. Even though he played a solid fourth-line role with Washington when they won the Stanley Cup in 2018. He went to the Canucks, played his heart out, and here he is now on his last legs at Arizona. And he does not deserve any supplementary discipline. I hope to God there isn't any. I didn't see any news on Twitter today. There could be something. The woke maybe, coming at the league like a tsunami. I don't believe they'll get through, and here's why. I'll finish on this note. What a lot of people fail to understand when they comment like their wokeness and their crying could have some sort of impact on the NHL, who just don't care. The NHL is a business. It's run by two entities. The players, who are represented by the NHLPA and their representative, Donald Fear, and the Board of Governors who own the NHL, who have their representative, which is Gary Bettman. And these entities sit down and govern the league with an agreement called the Collective Bargaining Agreement. And none of the players, coaches, managers, or owners want anything extra given to Jay Beagle for that scenario. It's just crybabies in the media and fans who don't know the game, who don't understand full contact competitive sport. And you've got alpha males in their 20s who aren't going to take that. I'll tell you what, men's league hockey would not take that. That guy would get hit. Zegras would get hit in a men's league game. There isn't a men's league that I played in, and I played in many, or any that I still watch today. My friends still play. I haven't played in a league in a long time. Just play some outdoor pickup now. There isn't a league that I watch even still to this day in 2022 where if you went in on the goalie with a $1.45 to go in a 5-0 game, even after a loose puck, that someone isn't going to come in and give you a shot. It wouldn't disintegrate into what happened there because most of those leagues don't have fighting. But there still are fights in men's league hockey. And you'll get kicked out and you'll get suspended and they'll come back and play and nobody's going to run home and hide under their bed because a couple of men threw some punches. Now you say, hey, Liam, well, Terry didn't throw any. No, well, I guess he'll think twice going in next time. Protect yourself. Or understand what you're getting yourself into. And maybe Zegras will as well. He needs to take a lot of responsibility here too. The guy who doesn't have to take a single iota of responsibility is noted pugilist Jay Beagle. First fight in 9 years. First fight in 9 years. You can't make this stuff up. It's like, guys, okay. Is Beagle in the lineup tonight? There's no way I'm dressing. Oh, man. Oh, that's some serious crying from a bunch of people who just don't get it. Oh, please, God. Please, don't ever let me watch any hockey games with you. It'd be tough. Anyway, that's all I got to say about that. And I hope there's nothing more on Jay and he can finish his career, take a Stanley Cup ring, and he's cashed a couple of good checks, and he earned them in 2018 specifically. But and he earned the last bit of it there the other night, as far as I'm concerned too. And Troy Terry will recover, and he'll have a story to tell his grandkids years from now, and that's the way that'll go. Enough about that. On to I got really one other thing to say. Keith Yandle, I wanted to 1,000% support Mike Yeo and the Philadelphia Flyers. Yandle should have been out of the lineup a long time ago. Kudos to him. 989, remarkable. Broke Doug Jarvis's record, which stood for 35 years. I think, and Phil Kessel was coming right up behind. Touch on that in a second. But, and again, teammate supporting teammate. Kevin Hayes goes on post-game upset with Flyer coaching personnel for taking Yandle out. And then again, the fans, social media, well, let him finish the season. God, poor Keith. He's so close. He could have played 1,000 games in a row. Oh, my God. Oh, that's brutal. It's just terrible. But, he hasn't been probably qualified to be in the starting six most of this season on Philadelphia, and yet they ran him out there for the streak. Much like the Islanders have done with Zdeno Chara. Ran him out there for the streak. And there's no way Chara will help any team in the playoffs ever again. There's no way Yandle will help any team in the playoffs ever again. Say, Liam, Islanders and Flyers aren't in the playoffs. Doesn't matter! It's a business! They weren't good enough to be in there. They were left in for their streak. Same thing with Doug Jarvis. He came out of Hartford at the start of the 87-88 season, finally, when Tex Evans says, enough! The guy's game has fallen off a cliff. I got to take him out. So they sent him down to the American Hockey League. He played 20 games and he retired. He never played another NHL game. Kudos to him at 964, and he had 4 Stanley Cups in his first 4 years, and he won a Selke, and and every other accolade he's got, he deserves, including the streak. He did miss games, by the way, but they were playoff games. So it doesn't count, because it's a regular season record. Same thing with the guy whose record Doug Jarvis has broke. He broke Gary Unger's record. Gary played 914 games. He hurt his shoulder, started the season with Atlanta, and finally they took him out of the lineup. They said, you're hurting the team. You're not able to play. He had already long passed and set the record. So they took him out. You know who had the record before Gary Unger? Nobody does. But I do, and I'm here to tell you. It was Andy Hebbiton at 630 consecutive games. You know how his streak ended? They cut him. Bye-bye. He was 35 years old with the Boston Bruins. They missed the playoffs. They said, see ya. Take your 630 games. You know what Andy did? He went to the Western Hockey League and he played another 8-9 years pro, and he was outstanding there. He had a solid another 8 or 10 years of pro hockey. He won the equivalent of the Lady Byng Trophy there 5 times after the Bruins cut him at 65. It's called the Fred Hume Award, by the way. I know nobody knows that. Doesn't matter. Anyways, point is that the Flyers did nothing wrong. Kudos to Yandle. Probably going to get passed by Kessel. And Kessel will probably be the new record holder. And his streak, if he does go past him, will end undoubtedly, God willing, not from injury, undoubtedly the same way. Maybe Phil decides to retire. I don't think so. He could bounce around on those bottom 4 or 5 teams that are going to miss the playoffs for the next 2-3 years and probably pick up some contracts, more than likely. Who knows? That's neither here nor there. Anyways, that's my comments. Wanted to get that off my chest about noted pugilist Jay Beagle. I'll tell you, he's on the frequent fighter program. 4 fights in his career. 4 NHL fights. And you got the woke crowd, boy, coming at him with pitchforks. It's just pure comedy gold right there. I'll tell you, Will Smith has had more fights than Jay Beagle. Oh, man. All right. Yeah, so just a quick shout out to the Habs beating Tampa last night. Very rare victory in the regular season down there. And kudos to them. First 5 years on the day, actually. April 1st, 2017. Pretty rare. And nicely done. Canadians had 6 guys in a lineup, 23 years of age or younger, including 3 defensemen last night. Jordan Harris played his first game. And look, he's not coming in with anywhere near the hype that Jake Sanderson will here in Ottawa, nor should he. But man, he was solid last night. Baptism by fire, going up against the 2-time defending Stanley Cup champions, who outside of playing their backup goaltender Brian Elliott, who, by the way, 4 goals in regulation and then the shootout winner, didn't really have a chance, really, I don't think, on any of those 4 goals, and he played well. That save he made on Dvorak was all world. Double pad stack in the first period. It was fantastic. Consummate pro, just put his time in, puts his work boots on, just went in. It's like Jay Beagle, man. Just putting his pants on and putting his big boy pants on and going out, trying to earn a living. Gets run from behind from a little puke. that he's coming in to rescue his partner, and all of a sudden he takes a few shots and half the world cries. Hilarious. Anyways, well, a shout out to the Habs there for sure in their youth. That looks pretty good. They got a lot of good defensemen coming. That was encouraging last night. Another win for Toronto. I think they've got still serious goaltending issues. And hey, look, the Leafs are all about one thing and one thing only. It's the first round of the playoffs. Austin Matthews will probably win the Rocket Richard. Kudos to him getting 50. Absolutely, he is the sniper in the league right now. I mean, Ovi is going to slowly give away that title. And I don't, he's won it 9 times, which is a record for an individual trophy. Never to think he surpassed Bobby Orr's 8 Norris trophies is unfreaking believable. But I mean, Wayne Gretzky won more Art Ross's. But what Ovi did for scoring, goal scoring, is of course unprecedented, and because the Rocket Richard Trophy only started in 1999, and as it is, nobody in the NHL previous had ever led in goal scoring 9 times anyway. So Ovi's charge now to 894 is what we'll all watch going forward. But Austin Matthews is phenomenal. Absolutely, he is the sniper in the league right now. He's going to get Hart Trophy votes. Could win it. Could win it. I don't know. If I had a vote, I think I'm still going Connor, but Austin's going to get a lot of traction on that. But the Leafs, it's all about one thing, man. One thing. You haven't won a cup in 55 years. You haven't been in a final in 55 years. You haven't won a playoff series in 18 years. It's all about the first round, baby. I think I jinxed the Flames. Said last show that they're my pick, man. Calgary. That was a hell of a game last night. Did you guys watch that? Calgary, St. Louis. Outstanding hockey game. Outstanding. Anyway, tough loss. Getting scored on late in a game like that. Not getting it to OT. But they still hold a little bit of a margin for first in the division. But it is tightening up. And there's still 10, 12 games to go. So these teams have to be aware of that. So we'll see how it plays out. Yeah, that's about it, I guess. All I really got to say. Ottawa, a couple of wins over Detroit. Everybody's pretty happy about that here. Nice tribute to Eugene Melnick pregame today. I was not there, but watched it on TV. It looked very nice. I said my bit on Melnick last show. And Sens chalking up some late season wins, which has become the norm. And again, for them, we'll finish strong for sure. Hopefully get Jake Sanderson in the lineup, get a look at him. At the NHL level will be fantastic, even if it's only a couple of games. The anticipation is very high to see that. And then their offseason, and of course, their start next year. If Toronto was all about the playoffs this year, Ottawa is all about that first month of the season next year. So they really just need to continue just playing to the best of their ability when they're out there, and hopefully a few guys will achieve some individual accomplishments, and they'll finish strong. Same thing with the Habs and the other teams that are miles out of the playoffs and not going to make it. I mean, that's unbelievable in the East. Holy cow, the Eastern Conference. I mean, the top 8 have been solidified since Christmas, really. I mean, really, the last team that was kind of hanging around a wildcard spot was Detroit, and they have just absolutely nosedived. So, anyway, on that note, let's drink some whiskey, and I will just pour that in a second. Going to go with the Heart Iron. Let's do this here. There we go. Heart Iron, that's a Nova Scotia from Lunenburg because of the Sidney Crosby Nathan McKinnon matchup there. Speaking of great games, oh my God, 3-2 final. Both of them were flying. Sid scored. I think Nate in on a couple, and Cole Harbour battle right there. Why'd they say on TV the Battle of Halifax? I don't get that. They're Cole Harbour. Don't know. Anyways, so do that shot. Before I do this day in hockey and finish up this puppy, this day in hockey brought to you by our newest sponsor, Shoeless Joe's, who are working feverishly, continually, as I said last show. My good buddy Jeff Underhill, getting the new location in Orleans ready for opening in about a month's time. In fact, it's almost a month of today. I'll be teeing that up as we get closer to it. The location is 4444 Innes Road in Orleans. Beautiful little area right there. It's a strip mall, and you can't miss it. It's right by the road. Tons of parking, which I love when you can go into places and just park. Even you got to walk a little bit. Lots of parking, no problem. If you're wondering if it's the same setup as the Shoeless Joes in Kentville, first of all, Jeff is one of the main partners there as well. And they have done an outstanding job there. And if you live south of the city and have not been there, hammer down the 416 south, get off at 43, and it's right there, baby, on your left-hand side. Great sports bar, tons of screens, great food, great service, and they've done an outstanding job there, and they are bringing all of that to Orleans. And so you can expect more of the same. And can't wait, and we'll certainly talk more about that as we get closer to the date. Keep in mind, Shoeless Joe's was started in Canada in 1985. So Jeff and company are continuing a great Canadian tradition. And I look forward to, I would look forward to having my first pint in there, except I already have had a pint in there. I've been to the location. I didn't take a hammer and nail, so I didn't actually contribute to the building of the restaurant and the bar. I felt bad about that after, because I know some other guys that went there, and Jeff gave them a tool so they could bag something in and said, "You helped build the bar, man." Anyways, they're our newest sponsor here, and we thank them for coming on board to Liam's Hockey. Okay, time to wrap this puppy up. That's a Sunday night. What do you think of that? Love the sound of the cork coming out of the bottle. You know, it always reminds me of the Westerns, the old Westerns on TV. The guy gunslinger goes in, he's got the spurs, you can hear them going, you can see the gun belt, got the hat, maybe tips it, pushes it back a little bit. 8-day growth of beard, slides up to the bar, orders a whiskey. Bartender brings him down the bottle like that. Cork goes out, pours himself a shot. You know, usually just a few minutes before the bar brawl or the shootout. I would have loved to have lived in that era. I swear to God. You put me in a time machine and drop me back to the 1870s, and I'd sign up to be a deputy with the Earps tomorrow. Love it. Love it. Anyway. All right, this day in hockey. April 3rd, 1966. Let's talk a little Bobby and Brett Hull. Bobby Hull on April 3rd, 1966 recorded the most points in one season at that time by an NHL player ever, with his 97th point picked up in an assist on a Stan Mikita goal in a 4-2 loss to the Boston Bruins. And that's significant because any time at any point in the NHL history that you actually held the record for most points in one season, that means you probably were pretty damn good. And he was. He broke Dickie Moore's record of 96. Ironically, he was tied by said teammate Stan Mikita shortly thereafter. And of course, Phil Esposito came along and destroyed that. And then Wayne Gretzky came along and destroyed that. But that's the order. That's how it went back. Just, you know, I mean, it's Wayne Gretzky, it's Phil Esposito, it's Stan Mikita, it's Bobby Hull, it's Dickie Moore, it's Gordie Howe. That takes you back 60 years of the most points in one season. Those are the guys that held those respective records. I give you the rest, but you won't know the names, so we'll do it another time. It's not important. It is to me, but that's all good. So Bobby Hull sets this record April 3rd, 66. 34 years later to the day, April 3rd, 2000. His son, Brett, now a member of the Dallas Stars, playing against the Calgary Flames, scores a goal. It is career goal number 610, tying him with his esteemed father, the Golden Jet. I love stuff like that. I just think that's pretty cool. Same day, 34 years apart. Gotta love it. What else on this date? This is unbelievable. It says same night, same year, April 3rd, 66. Punch Imlach, Toronto Maple Leafs. A man who, he's lots of good, a little bit of bad, but at the end of the day, he did things his own way. And on this day in 1966, he became the first coach in NHL history to dress and play 3 goaltenders in the same game. 3-all tie against the Detroit Red Wings. He started with Johnny Bower. Then he went to Terry Sawchuk. And then he went to Bruce Campbell. Now, if you think that was strange enough, in the third period, he also let Johnny Bower coach. Bower actually coached the team. He made the line changes. Punch said, "See you later. You got her, Johnny." I mean, Punch, head of the curve, man. Head of the curve. They didn't win the cup that year, but they were coming off just a few years before of a hell of a run. 3 cups in a row, and as we all know, they got another one the very next year, which was at that time the oldest aggregate team in NHL history, and they held that mark until the 2002 Detroit Red Wings. So, pretty significant. There was a lot of other stuff on April 3rd, but those are the two that I wanted to touch on. I'm over half an hour, so I want to wrap this puppy up. I'm going to do my toast here. Again, thank my sponsors, Hosie and Brown Automotive, Ad Seal Services, and our new one here, Shoeless Joe's. Thanks, boys, for coming on board. 2 birthdays today. I want to acknowledge Bernie Perrant, 77 years young. Oh, my God. If you've ever spent any time around him, he is a beauty. And so happy birthday, Bernie. I've had the pleasure of meeting and interviewing you several times. And a guy who's become a friend of mine who's, he's had some just really, really tough health issues the last 4 years now, almost 5 years. Steve Ludzik is 61 years old today. Outstanding junior, made the NHL as a player, coached in the NHL, and just a prince of a man, absolute prince of a man. Ludzik, this is for you, buddy. This one's for you. And God bless you. And thanks for everything you did for Goldie and I when we were on tour and crossed paths with you in 2019. Here's to you, folks. Keep your stick on your ice. Keep your head up. I mean, you never know when Jay Beagle may be taking his next shift. Here's to you. G'day.